A group of Palestinian educators is getting a first-hand look at American culture right here in Minot. Their visit is part of the U.S. State Department's International Visitor Leadership Program. As Kiona Rivera reports, the teachers engaged with Minot schools and cultural institutions, all while learning more about life in North Dakota.
Ihab Razuk is the head coordinator of a local school and a finance manager for a human rights center, both in Jerusalem. Minot is a world away from home for him, but he says the people of the Magic City have made him feel welcome.
People are generous here. They're very talkative. They're very helpful. Super helpful, actually.
Razuk is one of 6 Palestinian educators who are exploring the city and sharing their knowledge with the Minot community. Before Minot, they visited Washington, D.C. and Seattle. But Razuk says he's been enjoying the slow-paced environment here. A nonprofit in Minot called Global ND has been taking them around the city. Executive Director Joseph Jastremski says they visited some schools as well as the Minot Area Workforce Academy.
This is Holy Week there, so it is filled with many more people too for the Holy Week services.
Razuk says he was able to talk with some students at Minot North and Ramstead and learn about the A-STEP program that supports people with disabilities attend higher education.
The level of input people put into the schools here, they invest so much.
During their last day in Minot, they were able to learn about the Scandinavian heritage.
Go ahead and step through.
And as teachers, it was important for them to note the local programs making an impact, especially in education.
They really like Aspire program as well, which is meeting the critical teaching shortage here by giving high school students a chance to take college educational classes.
Their next and final U.S. stop is to Cincinnati, Ohio. In Minot, I'm Kiona Rivera, reporting for your news leader.
In the past, Global ND has brought other professions from other countries like oil and gas engineers and law enforcement officers. The program is administered by the U.S. Civilian Research and Development Foundation.